All right, VIP listeners, to kick off this mock draft episode, we got our man, 97.5, the Fanatic morning talk show host, Anthony Gargano, joining us. And we're glad to have you back on the show, man. How's everything?
Everything's great, brother. You know, I love you on the Mark.
That's right.
Big fan of the podcast and all the great stuff you guys do.
Are you excited for this draft, Ant?
Yeah, I am. You know, I have to admit, though, the Sixers run has, I don't want to say dampened, but has lessened my usual, freakish enthusiasm over it. I mean, usually I can't wait. Right? I'm good out of your skin. Oh, my God, the draft. I think of myself as a fugazi personnel guy. There was always a wish that somehow would be discovered.
Right.
I think, like all of us, that's one of these NFL guys, Andy Reid, somebody who said, hey, cuz, you should come work for us in the personnel department. Of course, that never happened, and I was delusional to think it ever would.
Well, no, you're not delusional. Mike Mayock was offered GM jobs. Podesta from the Mets got a job with the Browns.
That's right.
That's right. Weirder things have happened, Ant.
That's true. But, listen, it is what it is, right, brother? But I got to tell you, all kidding aside, the Sixers, I can't get enough of them.
They are the most lovable team in all of sports. They are so lovable, it's unreal.
Yes.
And I love what they've done with this logo, with the snakes on the snake on the Liberty Bell. I love their uniforms. I just love the makeup of the roster. It's been tremendous. I think they end the series Tuesday night against the Heat. I think it's one of those games where it's really not even close, kind of thing.
I agree. I'm with you. It's closeout time tomorrow at Wells Fargo.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, they thugged it out both games in Miami, and they couldn't win. And let's face it, right? The Sixers had no business winning Game 4. They committed 27 turnovers. They were 7 for 31 from 3. And they were down 12 at the end of the third quarter.
That's how good they are, that they can overcome all of that and still win almost convincingly in the end.
Yeah. We've never seen anything like it. Never.
Great teams, Ant, I always say this, great teams stretch the fans' imagination. The Sixers, to me, they're constantly stretching my imagination. I really feel it in my bones. There's a vibe, like the Eagles had a vibe, that they're going to the finals at the least.
Well, that's beautiful. That's well said.
Do you agree?
That's well said. I completely agree. I do. I agree that. And I love how you phrased it. Great teams stretch the imagination of their fans. I think that's brilliant.
And here's the thing. The Celtics matchup would be interesting. Very interesting. But then, I'm more scared of the Celtics than I am LeBron, if that makes any sense.
You know what? It's interesting. The team I still fear the most is Toronto.
Okay, so we're all over the place, right?
But I know they won't slash like the Washington, but I'm still fearful of them the most.
Okay. Now, do you think realistically the Sixers can do this? I know I'm always asking you for a prediction.
I do. I really do.
All right, so it's just not us talking silly and.
No. This is legit. We watch how good they are. I mean, they're really good. This is all kidding aside, they're really, really good.
Yeah, no question about it. Will you be there at Game 5?
Yes, I will. Yeah, I will.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It really is.
Absolutely. Now, what's your game plan for the draft?
Yeah, draft. I'll be with Coach Staggs, who's now a free agent.
Okay.
So Coach Staggs and I are getting together for the draft. In fact, he's going to be on the program tomorrow.
Very nice. Very nice. Is he looking to get back in the league sooner than later, or is he content?
Yeah, he's going to take 1 year off and then get back in the league. He's not done coaching. He said he loves it. It's in his blood. It was funny. We had a great conversation today about, but they're used. These coaches, remember, especially around draft time, they're used to being in their offices, going over film and living in their offices for like 15 hours a day. They're at the complex, 15 hours a day, right? So they eat there. They have a cold. They go get medicine from there. Like you name it, life takes place at the complex. The only people they see. So he was like, I can't get to the point with a doctor. And he was used to just going to the trainer. They had the doctor come in. It's little things like that, slice of life, that these football guys are so sheltered from the outside world.
It's almost like a military lifestyle.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'd love to see him obviously get back in the league. On the Mark, we'll name him the Italian of the week as soon as he gets hired. Wherever he gets hired, he'll be our Italian. He'll be our Italian of the week. Now, for mock draft purposes, we have a bunch of different callers. We're calling it the South Philly mock draft. We got guys from all over telling us, or predicting for us rather, who these teams are going to take. We gave you the number 1 overall pick and the number 4 overall pick with the Browns. Where do you see them going? What are you hearing?
All right. Well, I think the number 1 pick, they're going to go Saquon Barkley. I think.
All right, there it is. The first overall pick in the On the Mark mock draft. Cleveland Browns select Saquon Barkley.
Because I'd heard Nelson at one point, and look, he's a great player. I mean, he really is. But I don't think if you're the Browns that you can pass up, because you can get your quarterback at 4, and I don't think you can pass up Saquon.
Yeah, I mean, he checks off all the boxes. In-game performance through the roof. Weight room through the roof. He's obsessed with football. He's a great kid. He's a specimen, man. I think he's the most sure shot in the draft. And then at 4, I'm assuming you're thinking they're going to just select whatever quarterback's left out of the crew?
Yeah, I think they go. Well, I think the Jets go Baker Mayfield, and I think they go Darnold.
Okay, and that makes total sense because Hugh Jackson loves his USC quarterbacks. Cody Kessler, Carson Palmer. Of course, Hugh Jackson went to USC. There is a connection there. He is obsessed with USC quarterbacks. I mean, that would be a nice scenario for the Browns. So, all right, the On the Mark mock draft, the Browns are taking Sam Darnold with the 4th overall pick. I like it. I think it's a huge win for them.
Yeah, I do too. I'm curious to see who you have taking the last pick of the draft. That, of course, being the Eagles.
Yes. I've seen a few names. You've seen Sony Michel, or Michael, however you say it. McGlinchey, who's a hometown guy. I've seen a few names. I mean, once you get to the bottom of the first, Ant, it's tough. Are you hearing anything?
Yeah, no. Here's what you got to know. Think weapon for Carson. So I think when you talk about Sony Michel, I love Darius Geis.
Character concerns. And I heard Mike Mayock say during the process that he no-showed several pre-draft meetings and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles are afraid of that.
No, they're not. They're certainly not. I like Geis too. I mean, I love LSU, so I'm a little partial. He's a beast, man. He is an absolute beast. He would be a tremendous addition for that offense, especially because this is Ajayi's last year on contract.
Yes.
So
you know what they like? And I don't know how people are going to take this because of what happened in the 5th round last year, but Rashad Penny, I think they like a lot.
Okay.
Because of the San Diego State running back.
Yeah.
So Rashad Penny is a guy that can return kicks. He can catch the ball. I think he can do a lot. So keep your eye out on him as well.
Yeah, the fans last year were certainly disappointed with Pumphrey.
Yeah, he just looks too small.
Yeah. And they already had a guy like that in Darren Sproles. It really made no sense.
Yeah. I think if they did it over again, that was the only misstep that they made in the draft, was they thought that there were going to be more backs available.
Yeah. And, getting back to your Geis selection, kind of makes sense because Jalen Mills, character concerns, LSU, they took a shot there.
Yeah.
I've seen Geis in mock drafts, from credible people going top 20. So, if he gets there, why not?
I'm with you. You got, I think you got a playmaker in him. I think they were going to look at playmakers to surround Carson. That's my guess early.
Yeah. What do you think about the tight end from Penn State, Geslecki?
Gesicki.
Yeah,
Mike
I can't say that name to save my life. I've been trying
No,
all
he's
day.
terrific. No, he really is. He's a terrific player.
And his measurables were tremendous.
No, I like him. I like the tight ends are good. There's a kid from South Dakota State.
Yeah, I've seen.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gutter is pretty good too. Watch for that kid. And then I think Hayden Hurst from South Carolina is pretty good too.
Mm-hmm. That's a deep draft at a lot of different positions.
Yeah, he's a second round. Yeah, it is. And yeah, look, the Eagles are in a perfect scenario perfect situation where you're just drafting best overall need.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the roster is viewed as a loaded roster for the most part.
I mean, imagine this. Imagine that they win the Super Bowl and they come back with Carson Wentz, a driven Carson Wentz.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's unreal. It really is. I still can't get my finger on Wentz's ETA. Like, it was a year-long injury, they said, but it's a sure shot that he's going to play at some point next year. I just don't know when.
I think he's on point. I think he's going to wind up being. You'd be surprised. Knowing him and just hearing from him, I think he'll be ready for the start of the season.
Really? Wow.
I do.
Would you really consider that rushing him?
No, I don't. Listen, it's all about what he feels, how he feels, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's all about how he feels, how he looks. He's going to have to pass certain litmus tests, right? So, when it comes to movement, I mean, but I think he's going to be fine. I'm not going to rush him. I mean, let's face it. What's the difference between week 1 and week 4? Super Bowls aren't won in week 4.
That's right.
So, again, if he's not ready, he's not ready. But I have a feeling he's going to be ready.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it was kind of cool what he said the other week in that press conference about, not that he was jealous, but there was a level of emotion seeing Foles win it, and it wasn't him out there playing. I
thought
you
that
gotta
was awesome. I thought his frankness was beautiful. Yes. I respect it. I really do. I respect it.
Me too. He's another guy. He checks all the boxes. He's exactly what you want. Now, when they drafted him, Ant, were you a Goff guy or were you a Wentz guy?
No, I'm on the record. I'm a big Wentz guy.
Okay. For me, I was
Luckily, I can go back to the tape.
Yeah, of course. It can be proven for sure. I didn't know, man. The whole school thing, the small school thing for a quarterback freaked me out big time. But I was proven, not that I was, outspoken about it, but, Wentz certainly put that whole thing to rest, certainly clearing the waves for Allen in this year's draft.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just fell in love with the guy. I knew a lot about him. I learned a lot of intel. And, real close to those guys. And Jaws went out to see him. And, I talked to him. We did an interview. And kind of fell in love with him. He was really smart. I'm going to tell you something. If I'm going to bet on a quarterback, now assuming that they're all in the same ballpark when it comes to measurables, right? Size, arm strength, and that sort of thing, I got to take the smartest one. It's always going to be about intelligence for me.
Yeah, it's a cerebral game from that position.
He's so smart. He's so smart. So, with intellect is it's funny because I rated really, really high, not just quarterback, and not just overall. I mean, it's funny. Joel Embiid is a incredibly intelligent guy.
Oh, hell yeah!
Really, really intelligent guy. You can tell just by his social media game how clever he is. And the whole thing.
Oh my God, yeah.
But his mind, and it's what helps makes him great because he can mimic. Whether it's Olajuwon or he mimicked James Harden.
He said he's on record as saying he learned how to shoot from watching white guys shoot threes. That's how he learned his form.
Yes.
You know, it's funny now. I'm thinking it's like Embiid. I do think he's like a comedic genius. It's almost like when Jake LaMotta stopped boxing. He tried to become a stand-up comedian. Right? We all know the movie Raging Bull, of course. Maybe when Embiid's done winning titles and MVPs in the NBA, maybe he'll go and be a successful stand-up comedian or actor. Honestly.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I mean,
I know we're bouncing back and forth between Sixers and draft here, and I don't mind that. It's two great topics. I think Ben Simmons is an absolute stud, and I think Embiid is right there with him. Like, I already think they're both, like, top 10 in the league.
I know. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It really is.
It's so true. It's amazing. I mean, think about this too about Embiid. He speaks several different languages.
Right.
You know, I mean, like the guy is, man. He's new to the. I mean, he just picked up a basketball. He's 16 years old. I mean, it's amazing how little of the game he played.
It is. It's mind blowing. And then they pair it, okay, with the perfect demeanor. I mean, you know, the Heat were trying to play that street rules out there, really banging them around, really talking trash, getting physical. And Ben Simmons had the stone face, calm, cool, and collective. Embiid, the same thing. You know, I love their demeanor. Their talent level is, in my opinion, borderline unmatched, even this early in their careers. It's one of the most special things I've seen in a very long time.
Well, you know what's amazing? The Heat had to play like that. They had to thug it up. It's the only way they can play, right?
Right.
Because they're outmanned talent-wise. Mm-hmm. And I love the grit that they show. I mean, Ben, that Australian inner toughness.
Yes.
I mean, that incredible inner toughness is amazing. I mean, it truly is.
Came out totally unfazed through all that. The Heat, like you said, they knew they were outmanned. They knew they were outmatched, and like we had said earlier, I think it ends Tuesday night at Wells Fargo.
I'm with you, man. I think it's closeout, baby.
No question.
It's closeout.
Now, Ant, I know you got the crabs and macaroni cooking. I know you're ready to eat. I'm going to leave you just with one last question.
Yeah.
Okay, a lightning bolt kind of guy, a guy who's had some controversial news about him, but I really dig the kid. Big time. Baker Mayfield. What are your thoughts on Baker?
I do too. I love him. I don't know what it is. I think he's going to be terrific. I think he's tough. I think teammates respond to him. I think they'll play for him. I think your instincts are dead right.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Is he the type of guy, number one, we know he's fell victim to this Manziel-ish stereotype going around. They're both from the same area of Texas. They were both polarizing college quarterbacks, slightly undersized and whatnot. But I just think Mayfield blows him away. But do you think Mayfield's career trajectory is going to be dependent on which organization he lands with?
Yeah, I do. I think it's all about whether or not he gets to the right place, whether or not he gets to the right system, right coaches. I think he's a good kid. I don't think he's I think it's unfair to give him the Manziel label. I think Johnny Manziel has real issues.
Yes.
I don't think Baker Mayfield has any of those issues.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's a good, cocky kid. I got no problem with my quarterback being cocky.
Yep.
And I think he's tough. I do. It's funny. Who agrees with you is Brian Baldinger. Baldy. Yeah, Baldy. Oh, Baldy, Benny. So, Baldy did a lot of Big 12 games, and he was down there all the time. He loves Baker Mayfield, since Baker Mayfield is number one quarterback.
Wow. I mean, he's accurate. I love the mechanics. I love how he can extend a play. And he's a type of guy, to me, major chip on his shoulder guy, but a football junkie. And that's a perfect storm for almost like that Tom Brady level of competitiveness. By no means am I comparing them, but I'm just saying if you have that level of competitiveness in you, that level of fight, that can lead to a lot of good things.
I'm with you. It's funny. The only thing is, and it's real, the size. I mean, it's a real thing. I don't think it's a death knell by any stretch. But I'm staring at him, and I'm staring at Darnold, and I'm going, It's interesting because I think all these quarterbacks. I like Rosen too. I think Rosen's smart.
Yeah,
I think he's a smart guy. It's funny, these quarterbacks are it's really interesting. And then, some teams, like I was talking to someone who really likes Mason Rudolph a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was a system guy, but, I'm always a little leery of the Big 12 only because, of that system kind of thing. But I do think you're right about Baker Mayfield. I think he's a winner. I think it's in his soul.
Absolutely, I do too. I would love to see him land in like a situation like Jacksonville. Running game, good coach, GM, real nice roster, nice defense. I think Jacksonville for him would be a beautiful fit. He's just not going to be on the board for them.
I agree. It's a shame because I think you're right on. Like, you imagine where he would go if he was there, how perfect that would be for him. Oh my God!
And I think they would be probably
with that big back.
Fournette, yeah. And I think they would be right back in that AFC Championship game. We're knocking on the door of it with him as a rookie. I mean, I'm a little bit of a take there, but it is what it is. I'm
with you. I'm
sure.
curious to see, what the Jets do, though. I mean, do they go Baker Mayfield? Do they go Sam Darnold?
Right. Well, the ultimate Jet pick, man, would be Bradley Chubb. That would be the ultimate pick. They love taking defensive players, top 10.
You got to get your quarterback. I mean,
no, I know. I got so many.
It's like you look at. If I'm the Giants, I mean, I got to think. I'll be honest with you. If I'm the Giants, I go quarterback.
I do too. I was saying that before we started the show. Yeah.
When am I going to be drafted second again?
I actually think, how the Giants are looked at as like a high-class, uppity organization? I almost feel like Rosen fits that whole mold.
I could say it.
And then, the Jets have been known to take a USC quarterback. Maybe the Jets end up with Darnold. It could go so many which ways. That's what makes it fun. I like how you refer to the Jets as the cousins of the Eagles. I tell my friends in New York that you say that. I think that's like a good, fair reference.
It is. I think they're very similar. Eagles have been historically better. However, I think the fans are very. It's Queens, it's Brooklyn, it's the Borough fan. Like,
yeah.
The Giants. I spent a lot of time up there, and the Giants were always Connecticut, Manhattan,
right.
North Jersey,
right.
The Regal.
Yes.
While the Jets were more of the Long Island, Brooklyn,
blue collar,
Staten Island, yeah, more the boroughs.
No question. Well, all right, Ant. We always love having you on the Mark. We appreciate you. Go enjoy those that crab and macaroni dish.
I love hanging with you guys. You know that. You guys are the best.
Of course, Ant. We'll talk later in the week, man.
You got it, buddy.
All right.
See you, pal.
Later.